Welcome back to the Professor Insight podcast, the space where we explore the intersection of artificial intelligence, neuroscience, and emerging technology, and turn it into something practical for your business, your strategy, and your everyday thinking. I'm your host, Professor Billy. As always, a quick note before we begin. This podcast is fully powered by AI tools, from content creation to script writing and voice generation. And yes, what you're hearing right now is a voice clone of me, brought to life with full human oversight and manual curation. Let me start with a question. If you had to deliver bad news to a customer, say a delayed shipment, a price increase, or even a cancellation, who would you rather send it? A human representative or an AI agent? Now flip it around. If you've got good news, a discount, a free upgrade, a loyalty reward, who should deliver that message? You might think the answer doesn't matter much, but new research says it matters a lot more than we realize. Today's episode dives into a fascinating paper published in the Journal of Marketing by Aaron Garvey, TaeWoo Kim, and Adam Duhachek, titled Bad News? Send an AI. Good news? Send a human. This study explores how consumers react differently to offers, depending not just on whether those offers are better or worse than expected, but on who or what delivers the news. And the findings flip some of our assumption upside down. Here's the big insight. When offers are worse than expected, people respond less negatively if the messenger is an AI. But when offers are better than expected, consumers actually respond more positively if the messenger is human. In other words, AI makes bad news a little easier to swallow, while humans make good news feel even better. And that asymmetry, rooted in how we perceive the intentions of humans versus machines, has enormous implications for marketing, service design, and even ethics. We'll walk through the experiments behind these findings, from concert tickets to Uber rides, and see why AI's lack of perceived intention changes the way people judge both selfish and benevolent offers. We'll also explore how making AI more human-like sometimes helps and sometimes backfires, depending on whether the outcome is positive or negative. And finally, we'll talk about what this means for businesses, when to strategically use AI, when to rely on humans, and where the ethical lines might need to be drawn. So, bad news from a bot, good news from a person. Sounds simple, but the reality is much more nuanced. Let's dive in.
Imagine you're trying to resolve an issue with a company. Maybe, a flight delay or a billing question.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you're talking to a person, right? Sometimes it's a chatbot, one of those digital assistants.
Yeah, more and more often these days.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, does it really matter who delivers the news? Especially if that news isn't, what you were hoping for.
Or even if it's surprisingly good news.
Right. Did the messenger change the message?
It absolutely matters. And that's really the fascinating core of the research we're diving into today.
Right.
This isn't just about, efficiency or technology. It's really about deep psychology.
Psychology, huh?
Yeah, we're looking at how our brains react quite differently to offers. Could be a pleasant surprise, could be a disappointment, depending entirely on whether they come from an AI or a human.
But damns the verdict.
And the findings, honestly, are a bit of a bombshell, especially for how businesses might be thinking about using AI right now. It's pretty counterintuitive.
Okay, bombshell, counterintuitive, I'm hooked. Let's just jump right into that because, it sounds like it completely flips conventional wisdom sort of on its head.
It really does.
This research, and I love the title, Bad News. Send an AI. Good news. Send a human. It found something truly remarkable, didn't it?
Yeah, quite striking.
When a product or service offer is worse than expected.
Worse.
Consumers actually respond better when an AI agent delivers that news. Better, meaning, increased likelihood to buy, higher satisfaction reported.
It sounds backwards, doesn't it?
It totally does. I mean, that's not what I would have guessed at all. You're telling me a machine, a piece of code, is better at breaking bad news than a person.
That's what the data suggests. And the paradox, it just deepens because the flip side is also true.
Okay.
Going for an offer that's better than expected.
Like a pleasant surprise.
Exactly. Consumers respond significantly more positively when a human agent tells them. So think about that. You get a genuinely great deal. You actually want a person to deliver that news. You appreciate it more.
Okay.
But if it's a raw deal, something unexpected and negative, an AI might actually be your preferred messenger, psychologically speaking.
Wow. Okay. That really highlights how complex our wiring is when we interact with tech.
It really does.
So how do they test this? You need some solid scenarios for that.
They did. They used some incredibly relatable situations. One involved an Uber ride.
Okay, yeah, we've all been there.
Right. You get an unexpectedly high price for your return trip. Say it's $30 when you were thinking maybe $20 based on the ride there.
Oh, yeah, I hate that.
Or another one, a concert ticket resale.
Okay.
You're offered $140 for a ticket, but you just saw similar ones sell for like $110. So definitely a worse than expected offer.
Half it feels like you're getting ripped off.
Exactly. And get this, the numbers here are just wild.
Okay.
In that concert ticket scenario, when the offer came from an AI, a striking 49% of participants accepted it.
49% for the bad deal.
Yeah. But when the same bad offer came from a human, only 19% accepted.
19, that's massive. 49 versus 19 for the exact same raw deal.
Monumental difference, just based on who delivered the message.
Wow.
And predictably now, the pattern just reverses for the good news.
So the cheaper Uber ride.
Right. Imagine it's only $10 instead of the $20 you expected. Or that concert ticket is $140, but similar ones just sold for $170. You feel like you scored.
Nice.
In those better-than-expected situations, the studies showed a substantial 89% of people accepted the offer when it came from a human.
89%. Okay. High acceptance. Makes sense. It's good news.
But when the same good offer came from an AI, only 76% accepted it.
So still high, but noticeably lower than with a human.
Exactly. A significant drop, which really forces us to ask, what is going on in our heads? Why this profound difference based solely on the messenger?
Yeah, this is where the why gets really, really interesting, isn't it?
Absolutely.
The researchers, they dug into the psychology of it, focusing on something they call inferred intentions.
Inferred intentions.
Which is basically, I guess, our human tendency to constantly try and figure out the motives behind someone else's actions.
That's it, precisely.
Like, are they being selfish? Are they trying to help me out? What's their angle?
Exactly. We're hardwired as social creatures to attribute intentions, to read motives. We do it constantly, often subconsciously.
Even with non-human things?
Even to some extent with non-human entities. But the type of intention we infer changes dramatically.
Okay. So how does that apply here with the AI versus human offers?
Well, think about it. When a human gives you a bad offer, like that overpriced ticket, your brain immediately starts assigning motives. You might think, are they trying to take advantage of me? Or is this person just greedy? Or are they working on commission?
Right. You infer some level of selfish intent.
Precisely. A self-serving motive. But with an AI, that perception shifts completely. We tend to view AI agents, at least currently, as lacking the capacity for genuine, self-motivated decision-making. We see them as tools.
Like they're just following code.
Exactly. Their actions in our minds are just executing algorithms or serving goals set by humans. They don't have their own desires or personal gain driving them.
Okay, so if an AI gives you that worse than expected offer, that high Uber price,
you're much less likely to think it has selfish intentions because, well, it's a machine. It can't be selfish in the human sense.
It's not personally trying to rip me off.
Right. It's just calculating a price based on its programming, maybe surge pricing algorithms or whatever. It's impersonal.
It's like that phrase, don't shoot the messenger, especially if the messenger is a robot.
Kind of, yeah. And that perceived lack of malicious or selfish intent, that's the key. It actually softens the blow of the bad news.
How does that soften it?
You don't take it as personally. It reduces that negative emotional reaction, that feeling of being wronged or cheated. And because you're less emotionally triggered, you might be more objective, maybe even more amenable to accepting the offer itself, even if it's not great.
Huh. That makes a strange kind of sense. Okay, so that covers the bad news. What about the good news then? Why do we prefer humans for that?
So conversely, when an AI delivers a better-than-expected offer, that cheap Uber ride, we also infer that it lacks benevolent intentions.
Ah, okay. The flip side.
Exactly. It's not being generous out of goodwill. It's not doing you a personal favor or trying to make your day.
It's just an algorithm result that happened to be good for me.
Precisely. It's just executing code that produced a positive outcome for you. And this lack of perceived benevolent intent actually dampens the positive emotional boost you'd get from a human.
So if a human gives me a discount, I might think, oh, that was nice of them. Or they're really trying to help me out.
Right. You perceive genuine goodwill, maybe even a bit of social connection. That enhances the positive feeling. With the AI, that positive feeling is muted because you don't attribute that positive intention to the AI itself.
So it's less satisfying, somehow, even though the outcome is the same.
It seems so. And the research really drilled down on this. They ran specific study, a study 2, I think it was, that confirmed this mediation effect. It showed that these perceived intentions, selfish for bad news, benevolent for good news, are indeed the key psychological driver.
So it rules out other explanations. Like
Yeah.
maybe we just think AI is better at calculating market prices or something.
Yeah, they considered things like that, or maybe the uncanny valley effect. But the data consistently pointed towards inferred intentions as the primary mechanism.
Fascinating. Okay, so knowing this is where businesses can really start applying this knowledge strategically, right?
Absolutely. This moves beyond just academic curiosity into practical application.
Because the research didn't stop there. It pushed further into exploring anthropomorphism,
Right, which is essentially making AI agents seem more human-like.
giving them names, avatars, maybe making them chat in a more friendly conversational way.
Exactly, all those design choices. And you might instinctively think, okay, make the AI more human, that's always better for customer interaction, right? Build rapport.
Yeah, seems logical.
But these studies reveal it's actually far more nuanced. It really depends on the message being delivered.
Okay, how does making an AI more human-like connect back to those intentions we were just talking about?
Well, if we connect this back, anthropomorphizing an AI agent seems to strengthen our tendency to perceive intentions in it. It makes the AI feel more like an entity with agency.
So, if it's delivering good news.
If it's delivering a better-than-expected offer, a more human-like AI can actually receive due credit from consumers. You feel more positive towards this seemingly benevolent, human-like entity. It enhances that muted positive response we talked about.
Okay, so for good news, human-like is good. It gets closer to the positive feeling you'd get from a real human.
That seems to be the case. But, and this is really crucial for businesses thinking about deployment for a worse-than-expected offer,
Yeah.
a human-like AI can actually increase blame
Increase blame. Why?
because it's perceived as having more capacity for intention, including selfish ones, precisely because it seems more human. We attribute more agency, more decision-making power, and therefore more responsibility to that human-like interface.
So if a human-like chatbot gives me a high price, I'm more likely to feel like it, or the company behind it is trying to rip me off, compared to a clearly robotic interface.
That's the implication. The human-like qualities make it easier for us to project those negative, selfish intentions onto it, leading to greater dissatisfaction.
Wow. Okay, so the strategic takeaway here is really clear then.
It seems to be, yes.
If you, as a business, are delivering genuinely good news things, exclusive upgrades, loyalty rewards, unexpected discounts,
Right, things that make the customer feel valued.
you actually want your AI to be more human-like. Give it a name, maybe a friendly avatar, use conversational, maybe even empathetic language.
And the research backed this up. Study 3B, I believe, confirmed this. Satisfaction and, importantly, re-engagement intentions were higher with a human-like AI when the offer was better than expected.
It allows the customer to connect positively, feel appreciated, and by extension, feel better about the brand.
Makes sense.
But, and this is the big but, if you're delivering bad news.
Flight cancellation, service delay, unexpected price hike.
Yeah, the stuff nobody wants to hear.
Then a more machine-like AI might be your best strategic bet.
Keep it simple, functional, clearly non-human.
Exactly. The study showed that for these worse-than-expected offers, customer satisfaction was actually higher when dealing with a clearly machine-like agent. And interestingly, consumers were less likely to want to replace that agent or switch service providers.
Because they weren't blaming the machine personally?
Precisely. It removes that layer of inferred selfish intent that a human or even a human-like AI might trigger. It's just neutral information delivery.
And did the research say anything about how we perceive AI by default?
Yeah, that was another interesting point. It seems most consumers inherently view AI as machine-like by default, unless specific human-like characteristics are deliberately introduced.
So the default is machine, and you have to actively add the human layers if you want that effect.
Correct. Which gives businesses a very clear, actionable guideline. It's not just about what the AI does, but how it looks and sounds and interacts. It's about designing the AI's persona strategically.
So let's pull this all together. What does this mean for everyone listening, whether you're just interacting with AI in your daily life or you're maybe managing a team that's deploying these tools.
Right, because these insights offer a really powerful strategic roadmap, both for businesses and for us as individuals navigating this stuff.
Okay, so for businesses first, what's the play?
Well, first, think about strategic role transitions. Where does AI fit best, and where do humans still hold the edge?
Okay.
Managers could, for instance, prioritize shifting roles from humans to AI in situations where negative outcomes are just more frequent.
Like what?
Think about handling widespread flight delays, maybe processing returns for defective products, communicating unavoidable price increases. If it's bad news that needs delivering at scale,
And AI might be the less damaging way to do it.
it might trigger less of that intense negative emotional reaction, less brand damage potentially.
Okay. And conversely,
Conversely, roles that involve frequent positive outcomes, think about confirming expedited deliveries, offering rebates or upgrades, sharing exclusive loyalty perks, those should ideally remain with human agents.
to get that maximum positive emotional impact.
Exactly. Or if you do use AI for those, make it a highly anthropomorphized AI, very human-like, to capture as much of that positive goodwill as possible.
It's almost like a really sophisticated good cop strategy for customer service.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, actually.
You could selectively deploy an AI,
Yeah.
the bad cop specifically to deliver the tough news, knowing people react less negatively to the machine.
Right.
And then you save your human agents, the good cops, for those delightful interactions where the positive news can really shine and build genuine loyalty.
It aligns the messenger with the message for optimal psychological effect. Your smart speaker might robotically inform you of a delivery delay,
Okay.
but then maybe a very friendly, human-sounding AI, or even better, a real person, calls you up to say, hey, because of that delay, we've applied a credit to your account.
Ah, I see. Maximizing the positive, minimizing the negative fallout.
That's the idea. And the second big point for businesses is that AI design matters immensely.
Beyond just function, you mean the look and feel.
Absolutely. For firms already using consumer-facing AI, the visual design, the linguistic style, it's all crucial.
So reiterate the design rule.
Depict your AI as distinctly machine-like when you're disclosing worse-than-expected offers. Clean, functional, maybe avoid the cutesy avatars or overly empathetic language that might backfire.
Keep it professional, almost sterile.
Perhaps. But for the better offers, that's when you infuse your AI with more human-like attributes, name, personality, conversational style, to ensure you get the full credit, the full positive bump from that experience.
Aligning the AI's persona with the message. Got it. It's strategic design.
Okay, and what about for us, the everyday AI users out there? How does knowing this help us?
Well, this knowledge is empowering, I think. It helps you be more aware.
Aware of how we're reacting.
Exactly. Be aware that the messenger shapes the message. If an AI gives you a surprising offer, good or bad, take a moment to understand that your own emotional response might be subconsciously tempered by the fact it's an AI, by its perceived lack of personal intention.
So don't just react emotionally.
Try not to. This insight can help you approach these transactions maybe a bit more analytically. Pause and question the offer itself. Is it objectively good or bad for me? Rather than just getting immediately upset or overly excited based on who delivered it.
So I can avoid getting overly angry at a chatbot that gives me bad news because it's not trying to be mean. Right. Or maybe temper your enthusiasm slightly if an AI offers a deal, recognizing it wasn't an act of personal generosity. It helps you stay grounded in the actual substance of the transaction.
That makes sense. It's about understanding the psychological levers at play.
Which brings us inevitably to a really crucial point, the ethical considerations.
Ah, yes. Because this knowledge is powerful.
Extremely powerful, and like any powerful tool, it can be used in different ways.
So what are the potential upsides and downsides, ethically speaking?
Well, on one hand, you could argue this presents opportunities for firms to genuinely get credit where credit is due. If a company offers a truly benevolent deal through a human-like AI.
The customer feels genuinely good about it, satisfaction goes up, loyalty builds. Seems okay.
Right. It enhances positive experiences. But on the other hand, it reveals AI as a potential, well, darker tool.
How so?
Marketers could potentially use machine-like AI strategically to increase the acceptance of offers that are objectively detrimental to the consumer.
Because the consumer reacts less negatively to the machine delivering the bad news.
Exactly. And it could even increase re-engagement with a company despite them having delivered bad news, simply because the delivery method softened the blow.
That is a significant concern. using psychology to get people to accept things that aren't really in their best interest.
It definitely raises red flags. However, the researchers do point out scenarios where this could potentially be a win-win, or at least not purely manipulative.
Like when?
Well, sometimes consumers have unrealistic expectations. Or maybe cognitive biases lead them to reject offers that are actually objectively beneficial for them in the long run.
Okay.
Think about switching costs, maybe. Someone might irrationally stick with a worse provider because of inertia. In such cases, an AI delivering a fairly neutral, even slightly disappointing, but ultimately beneficial offer.
Might help them overcome that emotional resistance and make a more rational decision.
Possibly. It could nudge them towards a choice that benefits both them and the firm by cutting through some of that emotional static. So it's not always about tricking people into bad deals. Sometimes it might be about facilitating acceptance of rational deals.
That's a more nuanced take. But the core ethical dilemma remains.
It does. It emerges most clearly when consumers are genuinely harmed, or at least significantly disadvantaged, by a worse-than-expected offer, and AI is consciously used to bypass their natural protective resistance.
Using the machine messenger to sneak a bad deal past their defenses.
That's the worry. And we also need to consider the long game.
What do you mean?
Will consumers catch on? Over time, might we all become more skeptical? Might we start inferring that even if the AI seems neutral, the humans behind the AI are deliberately manipulating the offers and the delivery method to serve selfish corporate intentions?
So the perceived neutrality of the AI could erode. We might start blaming the programmers or the company anyway.
It's a possibility. Trust is fragile. If people feel they're being consistently manipulated, even by a machine, that trust could break down. It's a dynamic we really need to watch carefully as AI becomes even more integrated into commerce.
Wow, what a deep dive this has been. We've really seen how just the simple choice, AI versus human, or even human-like versus machine-like AI, can drastically alter how we perceive and respond to offers.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It's not just about efficiency or saving costs on call centers. It's fundamentally about psychology. Human psychology meeting artificial intelligence.
Indeed. And this research really underscores that AI isn't some one-size-fits-all solution for customer interaction. You can't just plug it in and expect uniform results.
No.
Understanding these nuances, perceived intentions, the impact of anthropomorphism, it's absolutely critical, both for businesses aiming to build stronger, maybe more authentic relationships with their customer.
And for us as consumers, trying to navigate this increasingly AI-driven marketplace more effectively, more consciously.
It's about being thoughtful about the technology, yes, but even more so about how it profoundly interacts with the complexities of the human mind.
So maybe the final thought for everyone listening is this. The next time you get a surprise offer or some unexpected news from a company, pause for a second. Ask yourself, who or what is delivering this news, and why might they have chosen this particular messenger?
It might just change how you feel and how you react. Food for thought.
Definitely. Are we being strategically influenced or genuinely served? A question for the age of AI.